In the top left, in the blue, it is Cyan.
That's right. And in the bottom right here, represented by Team Low Power, it is.
I mean, they've had such dynamic styles for such a long time. Some of my fondest memories as a pro player is competing on the ladder against the Chinese players. Ooh. And yeah, wow, expectations often do get broken against these guys. That's just a hidden pylon for now, a very rare slot to scout. You know what's kind of cool about that pylon? It kind of scouts for a proxy Stargate from your opponent just by being there.
That is true. That's actually not very far away from where bottom right would get their proxy pylon. Like sometimes that's exactly where they'll get it. And second of all, it's sometimes if you're trying to be a bit more, oh, I don't want this scouted, you take it slightly to the south of where that pylon of Cyan is. So I'm with you, Pig. It feels like a hidden pylon just to try and force a an extra probe out on the map from JieShi to make him sweat a little bit to go out there and scout all the nooks and crannies around his main and natural. At the moment, Cyan, of course, getting that probe scout off. He is walled in, but we'll at least see what gateway units are coming out of the gateways.
JieShi's going to go Stargate on the low ground. Yeah, he used this exact same wall off to deny information against Maxed. So JieShi's doing it again, where he walls the probe inside his base, drops the Stargate on the natural, and this is an Oracle expand. It's a really cool way of opening up the game. And it is going to also be Stargate from Cyan on the other side of things as well. And Adepts first for Cyan, who's doubling down on the Adept production. Meanwhile, it's 2 Stalkers into 2 Adepts. JieShi's looking around, does not see these Adepts just yet. But I think we've got a Stalker foraging out to the right. It's going to start getting some shots on them early.
Yeah, he is going to get some hit points on those Adepts, of course. Those Adepts are just trying to outpace the Stalkers. Unfortunately, they don't. The Shade does, but the Adept on base movement speed does not. And now there's Adepts shading on Adepts. So Stalker and Adept count here for JieShi. Out on this side of the map is in the advantage. Cyan going to lose at least 1 unit here.
Ooh, that's a good start. It's always annoying losing those Adepts early, especially when you're going, 3, 4, potentially up to 6 Adepts. Cyan's building an Oracle right now, and that Warp Gate's almost finished, but it's not here just yet. Stalkers and Adepts going to bully this back.
Yeah, the gateway battle at the moment not really going well for Cyan. His natural is up, no low ground pylon. We'll have to rely on high ground defense. Shield battery in the mineral line here for JieShi as well. So it feels like the Oracle opener for both players should, it has the potential to do some damage here for sure. They both pass each other. That's so funny. Cyan instantly starts a Phoenix as a response.
Oh, here we go. Cyan finally gets a bit of purchase in the gateway battle. Punishes JieShi for being a bit too deep on that side of the map. Oracle comes in and stasis. Nice.
Yeah, goes for the
just
stasis.
Just a nice bit of mining. Not a big deal. On the other side, of course, the Oracle just chilling. Cyan a bit busy making sure his probes don't all get frozen. And no damage for him, but at the same time, his Oracle's very healthy so far. Oh, Adept's coming forward onto the Stalkers, but Oracle's there.
Yeah, Oracle definitely does offer a little bit more damage output here, a little bit more DPS, but with 4 Stalkers, I feel like this army does need to retreat. The Oracle with the 4 Stalkers is more powerful than the 2 Stalkers and the 2 Adepts with the Oracle. Phoenix coming in for Cyan. Now, the Phoenix ain't what it used to be against killing Oracles, but it still has the ability to force the Oracle back, even picks it off in the natural. Lovely pick off there for Cyan.
So that was both Oracles that went down, I believe, for JieShi in this game. So that's going to be a bit of a nuisance. Meanwhile, this Oracle of Cyan is getting some work done. JieShi is up 6 probes, though. Wow, that's a pretty big impact. And it's going into Blink now very quickly as JieShi definitely feels like JieShi's got an edge in this game. Whereas Cyan, going to go into the quicker Forge, can still obviously recover from that. He's going to go DT Shrine. Oh,
Invisible Man in Clubhouse. A man of taste and culture here.
That's a reaction to the Oracles being sniped for sure. I was like, I don't know if DT Shrine this early is that great, really? It's a bit of a gamble, but if you've taken down both Oracles, no one wants to build a quick Robo. These Oracle into Blink builds, it's like the Oracle has become amazing detection. It's so good now that you can cast a 25 energy detection. It used to be, you've only got 50 energy. Well, 2 DTs come in, you can only get one of them, you're screwed, right? You need to get those observers out. Now, Oracle does see the Robo going down. It's a good sign that Cyan doesn't want to commit too much to those. I think if he sees the Robo and then just dives in with, say, 4 DTs, that would be madness. But you can see that he's rounding out his tech behind it, going up to 4 gateways, adding the +1, the Blink, and there is a quicker third base for JieShi, but Cyan himself ready to put that Nexus down as well.
Yeah, so when you get your third similarly timed here and you get to jump up that tech path a little bit more without your opponent punishing you, I really like it. So right now, things are looking pretty even across the board, right? But the thing that we just talked about before is that the Dark Shrine is done now for Cyan. It could potentially do nothing. It could also potentially do a ton here. Now, at the moment, JieShi doesn't show signs of a guy that's thinking about Dark Templar. And his probes, I mean, you got your shield batteries up, but they will not save them from DT swipes.
Oh, it's the anti-timing of the DTs. The Robo just finished as they warped in. Chrono's an observer, sends it to the front. JieShi here not leaving any openings against this. Everyone's very well timed with this stuff. I mean, who knows, actually? It's probes on the third and the natural. Oh, the observer's going to see if he spotted it.
He sees the shimmer as well. DT in the natural is going to get away, but the one in the main, it's going to go down. How many probes can he take with him? Just 2 at the moment. Third base looks like maybe greener pastures for this DT, but it wanted the natural there.
I really think he should have ran that behind the natural mineral line and just held position and just hoped, right? If you're going to go for that, you go in and you hope you don't get spotted. But one run in the third at the same time, got another 4 workers. So total of 5 kills, and that's not bad. Cyan's adding Immortals on here. I don't believe Charge has been upgraded for either player just yet. It is mostly Blink Stalkers at this stage, but man, they're so evenly matched. Just look at the supply, the worker count, like the upgrades. It's a very similar style for both players, as we mentioned, and this is interesting. I think some people look at this and they go, oh, wow, it's the same units running into each other. Well, these are those moments where every little bit of execution matters. Being a few seconds faster on something can make a world of difference, but more importantly, it's your micro, how you control and how you set up engagements. That becomes game-changing when you guys are working with an identical unit.
I like the stasis ward in the main base. Unfortunately, the blink's going to be just to the south of it. We got an Immortal and Archon here for Cyan. This Archon is zigging when he should have zagged. Get back in the natural, mate.
Yeah. A little bit brave there, but oh, that stasis trap.
Oh, got him.
No.
Cyan is actually so good with his stasis wards, and he definitely got a good catch there. Now, he could actually punish JieShi quite a bit here, but alternatively, if he doesn't get anything done quickly, the Stalkers getting unfrozen could actually be really annoying.
Yeah, I think he's just going to try and blink away. I don't think there's enough units here for Cyan.
He's got him selected. He's ready to blink.
Oh, it's kind of funny there. Oh,
whoa.
Yeah. Remember that blink does not cool down while they're frozen in time in that stasis. So if it was like a few seconds off, they come out. You can't blink them straight away necessarily. I remember I forget that sometimes. I'm like, why is he not blinking? And it's like, oh no, it's actually.
I'm like, oh, it's a little slow on the trigger here. And I'm like, wait, stasis ward freezes everything, including your abilities.
Yeah, as we talk about this, it's dawning on me how many times I've seen tons of Stalkers trapped in stasis traps in the last few weeks. Man, this is such a common thing at the moment. I'm like, I've seen this like so many times in the last few weeks. It's actually bizarre. You know, I went the previous few years without seeing a lot of Blink Stalkers trapped in stasis traps, but the last few months, it's every second game, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, all this week, I mean, we had Group B here for China, which was just Protosses, so we've had plenty of PvPs, plenty of Blink Stalker matchups. Looks like the army of JieShi is on its way to being better with charge finishing. If Immortals come down here with the Archons, I actually think Cyan's army has a better standing fight, but of course it does depend on the Concave versus Convex, etc. Guardian Shield also assisting JieShi quite a bit here. Got a lot more sentries.
69. Yeah, okay, JieShi pushes up in supply, but that arc is too big. So notice it's almost pure Blink Stalkers with a few Zealots being added in. There's a lot more Immortals. You stand your ground and fight that, you will get punched in the face as JieShi. Oh, yeah, good move forward from Cyan. Snaps the Prism. So I really like what JieShi's doing. He's looking for pickoffs, right? He's got so many more Stalkers. That's awesome. You stand and fight the arc on Immortal, though, you're going to get destroyed head-to-head. So I think you've got to be really careful. It's about picking off units, trying to catch stray Archons. So it's good pressure from JieShi using the superior Blink Stalker count, but can't commit to a sloppy engagement. If you just go all out into the Immortals, you're going to get smashed.
Yeah, and he's being very bold right now with his blink forwards as well. There's no detection here. He's not got like an observer parked over the robo or something like that, which would be tough. But he is blinking up on the high ground, not knowing if disruptors are out yet, which feels to me like super bold from JieShi. Because it is about that time when disruptors would be out, but in fact, they're just coming around the corner now for Cyan. He's got charge engaged, trying to chase these Stalkers, but the Stalkers are very slippery. They're going to be able to escape.
JieShi did lose his observer, so because of that, he's even more blind. Like you mentioned, not knowing about disruptors. Well, now he has 0 forward vision. These Stalkers, I mean, they're out on a scouting mission. You know, their job is to skirmish with the opponent, figure out what's happening. Zealots on the left looking for a cancel on the 4th right now. JieShi's creating a lot of pressure. Stalkers on the right starting to engage at the same time. Cyan panicked a little bit, pulls his own Stalkers home. He's got so many Stalkers trapped on the other side of the map.
He certainly does. His Stalkers are coming on home. Disruptor Nova's kind of zoning here a little bit. I like that he's just sort of buying a little bit of time. He does not want to cancel that fourth base. JieShi's got a good head start on that economy with that fourth base up, even though he doesn't have the probe count to match it. Nexus will survive, but very low on hit points.
Yeah, will be damaged. May come into play a bit later in this game. Another stasis trap!
He tried to blink out of there. I think he saw the shimmer at the last second, but unfortunately didn't work out for him there.
The disruptor count's growing for both sides. Cyan looked incredible with some of his disruptor shots in the group stage against Maxed, so I'm curious to see exactly who's going to be better in this disruptor stage. Those Stalkers blinking away, but lots of them going down to the hunt. Cyan grabs a few of them. Got, of course, Observer, movement speed on the way for both players. Both of them up on 4 bases, but Cyan does have the worker advantage. JieShi's got a +3 attack upgrade advantage just for the moment. He's going to keep pushing forward on the left.
Oh, these Disruptor Novas coming in. Good dodge on the first one, but the second one connects with 5 or 6 Stalkers. And on the right side, the charge lot's denied by Stasis Mode. Oh, and a Disruptor as well. What brilliant defense from Cyan.
Yeah, Cyan seems pretty comfortable being the defender here, and I think JieShi, you know what? You've got a forward position, but overextending seems to be a big threat here. Oh, double Disruptor. That's a good trade.
Yeah, 2 Disruptors going down there. That's a good catch there for JieShi. Cyan maybe getting a little bit too bold for his britches. Got to take it easy. Of course, I'd say that Cyan's in a really good spot here. Doesn't want to throw this one away with a bad Disruptor Nova. We know that with the Disruptors, with things like DTs and Disruptors, if you're winning the game, you could fast lose the game. just with some misexecution.
Well, I think being the attacker makes your life so much easier. So I actually think positionally, JieShi's ahead. It's just, well, 13 probes and a 5th base going up tells us something, doesn't it? You know, it's the problem that JieShi's had here is he's doubling down on Stalkers and Disruptors, and he's trying to force the issue. You cannot do this! Oh, can you? Maybe you can.
Maybe you can.
It's definitely looking for more, but he's going, wow, what a crazy maneuver. Into Zealots, though. Oh, he actually catches a lot of Zealots with his own Disruptor shot. That was really well done, but he's in trouble at home as well, and I don't think it's paid off. There was even defensive DTs warped in. Cyan realized there was no observers. Cyan takes out this base and all the defensive Stalkers, and JieShi there. JieShi gets killed on all fronts. He loses every single part of those engagements.
Oh man, unfortunately JieShi was that meme where he's trying to juggle all these lemons and they're falling out of his hands and spaghetti's coming out of his pockets at the same time. Nothing went right. Oh my god, and the prism goes down. JieShi is just dead in the water right now. Cyan defended in 2 spots. Yes, he did take some big Disruptor Novas, but JieShi got super, his back arched, his nostrils flared, and he just went for it. He went for the throat. He could not handle it. He's like, I have to go in now. And he got punished so hard, man. And a missed call on that recall as well. It just felt like maybe he was, just trying to make a decision, but unfortunately none of them worked out.
Yeah, and honestly, Cyan's Oracle usage and preservation is a big part of this. Just kept replacing the stasis traps, kept sniping the observers of JieShi, and using his own observers to always have the information advantage. JieShi's still pushing forward, which is hilarious to me because he's so far behind. Like, he's like so set on initiating with these trades and catching Cyan off guard.
Hacked and slashed there by the invisible man, and what a way to go. Cyan takes game number 1 on Death Aura. Didn't know anymore. And in the bottom left here, in the red, looking to tie things up. This is TeeVLP's.
And up here in the top right-hand side in the blue, a fantastic big confidence booster for first map. It is Cyan. Of course, a little tough to get live in game, like we often do for the other regions ourselves, but we do like to watch from our observers. Beautiful, beautiful observer, Insano following the action as always. And there's going to be 2 Stalkers for JieShi, 2 Adepts for Cyan to start things out. Same openings as last game. Only difference is that Cyan did hide a pylon in map 1.
Correct.
But not many people have been doing that in this region. And honestly, it's kind of interesting because it feels like people aren't too afraid anyways. Like a lot of the time that tech is just going down before they expand. Anyway, quick Stargate for JieShi here. Cyan is a little lower on the gas count.
Yeah, is he going to go Stargate as well here? Because he's about to have that 150 gas. It looks like it is going to line up with the Stargate for Cyan, just based on the gateway units he's getting along with the Nexus.
Very quick Nexus, though. Very nicely done. And I actually think we might just see a whole bunch of Adepts straight into Twilight for Cyan. Yeah, going up to 6 Adepts here. 2 Adepts trying to threaten this Shade. I don't think they're getting in, though. Oh, he's just going to take the fight.
Yeah, no shield battery. He is winning the fight, technically. Now he's not.
Yeah. Well, oh, Pylon gets sniped on the low ground there by JieShi. So, I mean, it's a trade on the other side of the map. Stalkers here, they do beat Adepts. Takes out a probe. And it's going to look for a couple more potentially, and then a recall out. Scouts in here, and I think the scout is very valuable. You see here that there's no tech, and you kind of immediately know it's a pretty good position to be in. Let me just trade the Stalkers out for probes. And that Stalk, I think he was thinking about recalling there, and maybe didn't have the energy. Now. I think he just chrono boosted an Oracle.
I mean, he gets 4 probes and also that low ground pylon, but losing 2 Stalkers, pretty expensive. Definitely wasn't for free there for JieShi. You know, that's 100 gas, 250 minerals, so quite expensive.
I think it's kind of nice, though, because this has bought time. Now the Oracle's in there, there's nothing that shoots up. So the Oracle can throw a stasis trap down if it wants. It does actually turn on its laser beam, which unfortunately means it's not going to be able to actually put a stasis. Adepts coming in large numbers, but there's a second Oracle at home, and I believe there's a couple of Adepts as well. No wall off on the high ground just yet. Oracle does pull back from the front. These Adepts want to do some big damage. They're not going to scale too well later into the game.
Yeah, we do have...
Cancels it.
Okay, well, maybe just switching gears as far as thought process goes there. Big Adept Shade, the natural. The number of Adepts he sees with a Shade and also the shield battery makes him nope out of that one. I think that's a good call. I don't think you're going to get too far there with a big commitment from Cyan. And he's switching into more Stalkers back at home now as he continues to send the Adepts across the map. And the Twilight Council starts for JieShi, strangely enough. I know that Cyan got his Robo quite a bit before.
This is just full focus on probing, though, right? From Cyan. I mean, he's chrono boosting probes. He's non-stop building them because these Adepts force such a big response. Wow, 3 Oracles come in. 2 of them turn on their lasers. They take out 2 Adepts. Almost get a third one as well. But 3 Oracles, that's a scary force. Cyan, though, has really probed up 2 bases. Remember, he lost a bunch of probes, 4 or 5 early to the Stalkers. Is still ahead in those workers for now. And as long as Cyan covers the mineral lines from the run-bys, is going to be looking okay. I think we're just going to see a Forge and a Twilight come down in the near future. For now, it's all about the defense. And,
nice.
Oh, that's very rough for JieShi. Not finding anything with this. Oh, no.
Doesn't have a lot of map room here. The back door of the natural actually not providing a lot of dead space for these Oracles. Nearly loses 2, but loses 1. So that is definitely not great for JieShi. You know, the Oracles are still alive. Of course, they'll regain their shields and their energy, and we'll be able to come back into the probe line, hopefully do a little bit more there for JieShi. But at the moment, definitely behind here and playing catch-up. You know, down 5 probes. His army is heading towards, it looks to be just a lot of Stargate units and Resonating Glaive Adepts. So maybe just going for a big old timing with the Resonating Glaives. But, I mean, if Cyan's at home when this hits and he's got shield batteries up, I feel like this attack usually gets deflected pretty hard. Usually.
Well, the more important thing is scouting right now. JieShi's going to do a giant Adept attack. And I think Cyan here is like adding Forge, Twilight. He's going to go Blink, Immortals. None of these things are good against the Glaive Adept attack. But, oh, that's a nice catch. JieShi just a bit distracted, hunting down the Warp Prism. These Adepts are going to get a good handful of workers. They also see that the gateway count is really high. And that's an important scout. Cyan trades out the Adepts, gets 6 workers. And he sees a lot of gateways. I really think shield batteries, he's dropping shield batteries on his natural. He knows he's got to be worried about a big attack. JieShi could come across the map and try to kill him. Now, it's been scouted.
Oh, well
Does
done,
JieShi
Cyan.
continue, though? Or wouldn't it even be bigger brain if JieShi now chronos probes and drops a third, knowing there's going to be a huge response to this from Cyan?
He's just spent all his money and he's sending the Adepts across the map. I mean, he could take a third while the Adepts are out here still. He doesn't have to commit, right? So...
yeah.
I mean, if he does commit, it's almost certainly looking like it's going to be a mistake at this point, right? There's just too much defense here from Cyan. Way too much.
And the Prism's going to hit him at the same time as well. So Cyan is doing like counter pressure while locking everything down. Now, he's adding Archons, which is really nice. I love the way Cyan's doing this. So they're the best unit for countering these mass Adepts. Just get a few Archons, especially with shield batteries. But look at that. 2 Adepts in the main, 2 heading into the natural. JieShi's unit on the other side of the map right now. Warps in 3 Adepts in the main, but I think that natural is open.
Cyan actually moving out with his army here to find the Adepts and go toe-to-toe with them. The Natural are going to take some probe damage here for JieShi. Cyan moving out to meet him, forcing a Shade forward, but I don't know if you want to let that Shade complete. JieShi trying to break off Cyan from the Natural. Actually, Shade doesn't commit here. Maybe he didn't send it as far forward as he intended. It looked like he wanted to try and cut the Stalkers off.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to kind of scare them off, right? Because if you just get kited, the Stalkers are going to do really well. But he's now going to rotate up into that main base, looking for some damage. I think he's got to be very careful. JieShi, I think these Adepts are good units later in the game. I mean, they're not amazing, but they're going to help. But, oh, that's going to go down, and losing one of the Adepts inside the Warp Prism, not taking any probes out right now. The Stalkers are all over this. He's not getting any damage done.
Certainly. Just really falling a little bit to the wayside. These Adept attacks not really cutting the mustard at all. And JieShi's put a lot of time and effort into this Adept attack. Now he's got that Resonating Glaive, he's got all these gateways. Of course, they can become useful later when he's making things like Archons, Stalkers to a lesser extent, Charge Lots. They'll all be useful. The Adept kind of fills the role of a Charge Lot, kind of, right? That it's just more expensive because it costs 25 gas as well. And
doesn't do as much damage, of course. But yeah, they're still good buffer, though. Good mate. Oh, the Archon drop on top. They do us so much damage. Does focus down 5 probes, you know. There we go. It's 1 probe for each Adept. It's still not great. JieShi, he's trying to make the most of it. He's going Disruptors behind this. It's a great comeback unit. He's up 10 workers and has a third base. So those cannons and batteries do not help with this counterattack. Cyan coming across. Lots of Blink Stalkers. Some Archons, some Immortals. There's not many units here to defend right now. JieShi's got to hang on.
I think JieShi maybe bitten off more than he can chew. Blink about to be off call down here for Cyan. He's going to try and pull back from the Disrupt. The Nova does lose 1 Stalker, but of course, when the rest of his army joins up, he is going to be looking very, very powerful here. Prism, actually Prisms, plural, from Cyan coming on in. One of them with Archons in the back line, looking to try and break this position and just end JieShi here. The Immortal being lifted, but he shoots down the Phoenix and gets it back on the ground. In fact, the Archon Prism is just in the main base killing probes. Oh, and the Disruptor gets pounced on. Cyan starting to really break JieShi apart in 2 ways. Can JieShi hold? Oh, Disruptor again, but picks up another one.
Oh my gosh. This is just another level of play we're seeing here from Cyan. 15 workers have already gone down in the main base to the Archons. The Stalkers wriggling their way up here, taking as good a fight as they can. That Warp Prism just warped in a few more. Cyan, I mean, he is just showing that he has evolved this season. He almost took down Time yesterday, and I think, look at this, the way he's playing this. Like, okay, JieShi's fighting, he's scrambling to hold. These Stalkers are getting a nice angle. Looks like he might be able to finally break this.
I think JieShi should be able to deflect this and hold, but the damage, I feel like, is done. You know, Cyan's going to have +2 in a minute here. He's up 10 workers. His third is not up, though. I guess that's the worst part for Cyan, is not having a third Nexus. So maybe the maths is a little fuzzy here. A little oversaturated, of course. The main's about to be mined out, so it'll be even more oversaturated over there. As we can
I think
see
the
right
Prism
now.
escaping, though, is so big, right? Getting even a few Stalkers in that Prism out, because now he's still got 2 Prisms on the map, and oh, he's got to be careful. It's a scary counterattack from JieShi, but yeah, JieShi can rebuild 3 probes at a time for a little bit. I don't know. Is he still got a shield battery at the third, maybe? He might barely be able to hang on against this attacker with no third Nexus starting. There is still hope here for JieShi.
Shield batteries definitely matter a lot here, but it's +2 against 0. So much more powerful Stalkers here for Cyan. Rare to be up 2 upgrades in the mirror matchup.
Oh, is there no upgrade on JieShi? Not
Nothing.
even +1? Oh, right. Yeah, I was thinking that was +1 because it was that Adept attack. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. The battery overcharge is big, but he's just going to click on it. But, you know, takes a lot of damage while that happens. Other units warping in to try and tank here. I think he's just barely got the numbers advantage. Does Cyan, the defender's advantage, try to come in here in a big way. JieShi struggling to hang on, but look at that. So many Stalkers deep in the red and orange. Cyan keeps them all alive, pulls them back to regenerate shields. That is an expertly microed Stalker engagement from Cyan.
Yeah, very lovely blink micro. Honestly, from both players, it's just that the numbers aren't really working out for JieShi. Shield batteries have been drained. The other one got picked off as well. So now it's just Stalkers against Stalkers. And you can see that there's a lot more here for Cyan. Being very careful and methodical here with these Stalkers as well. Not just aggressively blinking on top of JieShi's army. Even though he could potentially take the fight, he's bringing in sentries as well just to make sure that the deal is sealed here at the third base.
Stalkers and sentries coming forward. And it looks like finally has pushed JieShi off of his own third. Disruptor comes in, but 1 Disruptor in this situation, not worth that much. Grabs the sentries, about as much as it could have hoped for since the Stalkers have their blink ready. But they are going to answer. How dare you slay our sentries?
Yeah, indeed. And 3 sentries is a lovely pickoff, though. That's 300 gas, right? But yeah, the numbers here, if those Stalkers get in, if that Disruptor gets picked off, there is no hope here for JieShi, and the Disruptor is gone. And that means that Cyan is just going to flood him with Blink Stalkers. GG. Who needs a third base anyway, Pig? In my time. In the bottom left, though, this guy has been dominating the series so far, represented by Bravestar Gaming. This is Cyan.
And his opponent up here in the top right-hand side of the map. He has to win the next 3 maps in a row. Can he do it with his trademark aggression? It is JieShi. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see just how confident Cyan is. And I'm thinking about it because often these sort of, I'm more confident in the defensive game, I'm happy to chill and play that out, comes down to little details, right? It's not big, obvious things. People are like, oh, why is he winning? You know, oh, he's just better at defense. What are the details? Like, let's actually highlight a few of those. So what you want to keep an eye out for if it goes to that stage is the observer usage for Cyan has been much better. JieShi keeps sending his observers a bit too far forward, getting them sniped. And Cyan is like not just keeping observers out, so he's got vision in front of the army. A lot of the time it's the attacker who has more vision and more information because they're kind of running in, coming from surprising angles, picking off the defender's observers or pushing back their vision into a corner. But 2 things keep happening in this series. JieShi's oracles die, Cyan survives, so there's stasis traps everywhere for Cyan, and the observers are kept safe for Cyan, babysitting them, and he keeps sniping JieShi's observers while keeping his own alive. Those 2 things are just meaning that every time JieShi steps forward, he's either eating stasis traps or he's being spotted when he doesn't actually realize where Cyan's army is, and Cyan's there ready to greet him. So honestly, the information management for Cyan, while denying his opponent's information on the defense, it's kind of, you know, on the bottom nonetheless. It's meant to be the inferior position for information, the defender, but he's actually getting superior information. That is what's leading to his victory. So just keep our eyes on that as this game and this series progresses. If Cyan can keep it up, it's looking good.
Yes, indeed. It's not no more comfortable position really than to be on match point in a best of 5. It feels like you could kind of let a notch out in your belt, sort of loosen the build a little bit, maybe try something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more end gamey. Like you can just not. Obviously, you don't want to just completely go to sleep because then someone as good as JieShi will take you down. But you feel so much more comfortable, is what I'm trying to say. You're relaxing a little bit. You're like, okay, I just got to keep it up. You know, maybe I have a back pocket PvP build here that I can whip out and just try and end him really quick. And if it doesn't work, that's cool. I'm still on match point in game 4.
Stalker's here poking the front, but the shield battery is ready. Happy to take that fight as JieShi says, you sure you want to be here, mate? Cyan going a little bit hard. Oh, JieShi. Oh. 2 adepts inside the base. Recall. No recalls happen. These adepts are going to get a good handful of probes. Already 2, 3. Going to grab a 4th, probably a 5th and a 6th as well. Oh my lord, this is a lot of damage. This is the comeback maneuver. JieShi, a good start to game 3.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is why we have a probe hotkeyed at our wall-in, friends, in PvP. Very, very important. Overcharged shield battery going to give him a bit more time on the front line. I mean, that is a lot of Stalkers from Cyan, though. If he can wait out this overcharged shield battery, can he actually make something happen here in the natural and fight back? And Cyan feels like the answer is no. He's pulled back quite a bit here.
He's going to get 2 adepts to shade in at the same time. His Stalker's going across. I mean, it knows it's a dire situation. He's got to do more than this to be able to. There's not a lot of damage output there. Those 2 Stalkers warping in, very important. There's no healing right now. Massive unit advantage for Cyan. But he's going to get those adepts in. He's going to try and shade them into the main. Ooh, actually, is he going to grab a sentry? But nice. Oh! Funny little interaction there. The shade, of course, was not going to get very far. So Cyan did cancel it. Immortal is almost out, though, for JieShi, which stabilizes the situation. And there is a good 8-worker advantage, which is massive this early on.
You are not wrong. That Adept Shade finishes, which means these Adepts are dead. So that was unfortunate there from Cyan, almost certainly not deliberate. They do go down.
He's managed to get 4 probes, which is something. Cyan's like desperate to get more damage, but he loses a Stalker there for a shield battery, a trade JieShi's always going to take. The Immortal did get stuck in the main base, so JieShi does need to cancel the shield battery in the wall often. He's got a prism out, sentries building. I think JieShi senses the advantage, and actually let the base fall off. Too focused on the fight. 2 more adepts coming in.
Oh, get us a sentry. Forces a lot of denied mining time. Will he actually kill any probes, though? Looks like the answer is probably no.
And I'm pretty sure JieShi's going to push. JieShi has an Immortal of Prism. Like, I'm very confident that JieShi is like, okay, I know I'm ahead. Let's go, 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 go. You know, I've got an Immortal and a Prism. There's no way you can deal with this. Yes, there's a Twilight behind it, but I think JieShi will be pushing across this map and taking the fight over to Cyan, who at this point has 7 Stalkers whose job is to wave a big red flag and say, come over here. Please don't come to my base. Chase us over here. Please. And anything he can do to pull him away from his own base is very good for the blue Protoss.
You are not wrong. And even if you can grab a Prism or something like that, like if that gets miscontrolled from JieShi, at the moment it looks like it's on the same control group as all the Stalkers. There we go. He pulls it back.
Yes, we call that the hero. You know, the Prism always.
The CJ Entis hero plays, yes.
Yeah, it's literally the master of running his Warp Prism through people's armies. One of the best macro players in the world who... not the biggest fan of control groups, but okay, those Stalkers are gonna get cornered. Look at this. JieShi gonna catch him? He might actually get flanked himself.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. There's going to be a lot of units coming in from the from the northwest rather, so the Prism's a little vulnerable. Ooh, takes a shot on it, takes another shot on it, gets the Prism. Stalker's gonna pay for it with their lives though. No blink, and obviously recalls off the menu.
The rest of the Stalkers come in here. Does manage to take another Stalker out at least. I mean, that's something. Could have been worse, right? And every single Stalker goes down there. JieShi's got a third base on the way behind us. I like the way JieShi's done counter pressure. But you know what? Like, this was one of those situations where those Stalkers buying time, like, if you were going all in, Stalkers run you into the corner of the map. They recall home, they defend. Wow, Cyan's back in the game. JieShi was like, oh, okay, we're going to play Chase the Stalker. Immediately kept building probes, a forge, third base went down. Said, if we're going to waste time chasing your units around the corner of the map, just getting a nice little value trade, okay, cool. Let's just continue the infrastructure, get the upgrades, take the third base, and JieShi's set up to just explode into the mid-game. Cyan kind of stuck in a bit of a turtle shell moment where even moving out to take a third base, it seems like it's going to be a conundrum for Cyan, who might just opt for a big 2-base push and try to kill JieShi, you know, knowing that way at least he's the one picking where and how the fight happens.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't catch 22 moments where you take a third base and chill, your opponent gets further ahead because they're already ahead in economy. You're not doing anything to slow down their economy. It's not like you have Stargate units over there or Adepts over there killing probes or causing a threat. Do you want to send a Prism across there? Is that likely going to pay out for you? Probably not. Depends on your opponent's scouting and that sort of thing. Maybe the Prism can do something. Do you go for a big attack when your opponent has a bigger army and the defender's advantage? All these choices seem a little wild for Cyan, and he is going to go for the latter.
JieShi's out. JieShi's out on the map. Has not got that many force. Oh, he's going to go for the blink force field on the high ground. Oh, can he get the Prism? Oh, he gets... No, the Prism gets through. Oh my god, this is the worst case for JieShi. He's trying to recall into that main. He's trying to get back up there. Oh, but the force fields are going to go down to that ramp 100%. There are 2 Immortals coming in.
Oh, the force
good force fields. Oh my gosh.
Denying the sentries of Cyan getting anywhere near that ramp. JieShi with brilliant force fields here, stopping that strategy.
Has to pull the probes though. We need to see probes pulled. There's so much firepower. Those 2 Immortals are just doing so much damage, and the probes still have not been pulled, Maynard. JieShi is losing all of his firepower right now. He's got to get the probes in this fight.
I think it might be a little bit too late. Pig, that Prism still juggling things around. These Immortals still alive for Cyan and putting in so much utility. JieShi's army consists of just gateway units, and there is still an Immortal or 2 here, really causing problems for JieShi. And he's still inside the main, killing more here. If he gets these pylons, that's the production of JieShi gone and out of this game. Cybercore's gone, no more Stalkers. Only can warp in as slow Zealots. There's the profile you wanted.
This is the dogged determination of the player who almost took out time yesterday. He is saying, I will not go down without a fight. This pro pool comes in, but it's way later than I wanted. All of the damage output, most of it's gone. Now that Immortal of JieShi takes out both of Cyan's Immortals. Oh, there's not many Stalkers left. It looks like he's gonna hold on in the end. It's so damned close. No Warp Prism, no ability to warp in. That Stalker warp in for JieShi. He's heaves a sigh of relief. He holds. But at what cost? I think he's got a third. He's still ahead because he's got +2 on the way and a third Nexus. But my god, Cyan showing that he is honestly in such a good headspace to almost make that attack work when he's this far behind. Like, that is next level tactical thinking.
Yeah, indeed. Well, the dust is settling here, Pig. And remember how Cyan had that +2 attack upgrade against 0-0 Stalkers last game? Kind of looks like shoes on the other foot here with JieShi approaching +2. Cyan yet to get any Forge upgrades.
Things looking a little bit awkward there. And Cyan, I mean, what is the next play? You know, it'd be really funny if it was just round 2. You make a Prism and 4 sentries again and a lot of Stalkers, and you go for the ramp. Round 2 of trapping you outside of your main. But for now, Cyan's trying to just take a third. He's trying to get out of the map and posture, kind of pick some aggressive trades. But oh my. Cyan channels his inner patience there, throws a whole bunch of Stalkers away.
And he does indeed. Sentries and Immortals show up for Cyan in the middle of the battle. Is it enough, though? Oh, man, the acceleration zone actually working out for JieShi to make sure he maintains this concave. And he certainly does. Damn, those Stalkers are like buzzing little bees back there, man. And he's going to take this fight for sure. And it looks like JieShi going to fight back and get himself a map here. Not comprehensive. In the bottom right here, getting that third map win. Winning one for Team LP. It is JieShi.
Blocking his way, barring the gates, sending Brave Star Gaming in the top left-hand side. A dominant start to the series and almost got the 3-0. Can he make it a 3-1? It is Cyan. So that is really not big Chinese meta. You know, the gate next, the Nexus first. Taiwan, something nice. Likes to mix in and bait but always into doing it over there. You know, that it's not the case here. These guys are, I think, really respecting each other's ability to break a fast expand.
I mean, in the Lima League, every single week I cast Korean Protosses do it in PvP as well. There's a lot of Protosses that play in the Lima League every week. It's a very Protoss-heavy tournament, usually. And we've had a lot of, you know, at least series where one map will be a one-gate expand. I feel like it's usually like Pillars of Gold or something like that, or Death Aura will be a one-gate expand. Haven't seen it too much on the newer maps, though.
Indeed. Quick Stargate does come down here for JieShi, going into a third Stalker behind it as well. So it looks like a expand for JieShi. Meanwhile, a bit of a quicker expand, just 2 Stalker into 2 Sentry for Cyan, who's a bit more comfortable delaying the tech. Once again, JieShi, the one who is going to be probably bouncing Oracles around, maybe even poking across the map with these 4 Stalkers. Looking to take the fight to Cyan, but Cyan's been so confident in this defensive stance. I don't see anything changing here. I think he just loves getting set up for that mid game.
Yeah. He's got a small poke here with just a handful of Stalkers, and also we got a top right pylon. Now, JieShi's setting up for a very popular pylon location here on the Romanta side. And here come those 4 Stalkers for the poke that I was talking about. Probe getting caught there by Cyan is a nice catch. So if JieShi got a pylon with this, he could definitely put on the heat, but not really on the cards at the moment for him. And even the hallucination catching these 4 Stalkers. Good scouting from Cyan.
JieShi denying the information, though, and is going to come and just sees the sentry, sees the Stalkers, knows exactly what he's up against. Seeing those sentries is really important, because you see that much gas and you go, cool, that's not a Dark Shrine. Like, it just can't be. You can't have that many sentries this early and expand, and also a Dark Shrine. Oracle's going to come in, Stalkers and sentries scrambling to get back up in that main base. Ooh, 1 Stalker caught out front. Make it back to the shield battery, and oh, lovely trap. Scoops those Stalkers, but not enough damage to capitalize.
Oh, Oracle gets picked off. Now it does grab some probes for a stasis ward, and this does definitely cut into the income of Cyan. You'll be able to see it in a few seconds here, sort of shown on the bottom of the screen, but that is a dead Oracle, and I feel like that actually matters quite a bit. Oh, no, it looks like this is because of Cyan's worker lead. It's actually not that bad of a deficit at all. It's like a small dip in his income, and he's like, nope, and we're back to mining, and I'm going to be out-mining you for a bit.
Yeah, a stasis trap like that, I mean, it's a disruption, but it's not massive. Losing the Oracle, you think about the value those units bring over time. We've talked about the secret to Cyan's success in this series. It's all about Oracles and Observers staying alive. JieShi, on the other hand, keeps losing the Oracles, and that's a big problem. Builds a DT Shrine in the natural mineral line. If that, depths come in or anything, it'll kind of look like a shield battery. So hiding in plain sight a little bit. And the Forge on the way behind that as well. So it's JieShi who's trying the quick DTs, but it hasn't found any real big damage from either player's side in this series. They're so good at scouting, and they're so aware of the DT threat in this Blink meta.
Yeah, it's not really like DTs that have done economic damage. It's more like things like prisms have found economic damage, adepts, core shading, and have found economic damage in the series. But I gotta say, like those DTs towards the end for Cyan ended up just being a great fighting unit, like a good trading unit as well for harassment to get to just get in front of the army and do insane DPS as things try to blink away, that kind of thing. JieShi gonna potentially catch this pylon, but it's kind of a out there pylon, not really utilized at all at the moment.
Well, it's nothing like two players building proxy pylons in the corner of the map nice and close to each other. A rather common occurrence in recent history. There is an observer out front, and that DT is going to get caught way out in the middle of the map.
Yeah, unfortunately there for that DT. Oh, Cyan not paying attention. The observer's a little slow here, needs to catch up.
Run! He's got his Harry Potter cloak on, but, Master Filch is... hot on his tail. He's gonna get a probe or two. Hey, not too bad. Right. Yeah, I did not expect that.
That's four more probes than I thought he would get.
Oh my lord, well done.
Yeah.
DT's behind the third as well.
Yeah, and this is a great play here to have that DT sort of park it there. Very hard to spot as Cyan, and just wait for a couple probes to transfer over and then start catching a couple. I would have liked for him to be a bit more patient with it, actually. Just wait for a big transfer.
Two Stalkers are ready, so good prep there by Cyan. This DT shouldn't get too much done, but the power of the one-shot, 3 probes go down. Not bad.
2 dead DTs, though. Not cheap.
I've noticed the Chinese death animations are actually one of the most hilarious things I've ever
Chinese
heard.
ghost death sound is actually the greatest thing ever.
It is so funny.
It's a prerequisite for every single region of the world, for every single voice actor to overact and then go ghost death. Big blink forward there from Cyan. He does certainly have a giant Stalker advantage. Third base under assault and almost certainly dead here. JieShi just caught with his pants down. Nothing at home here, or not enough, I should say, to stop this attack.
The gateways just finished. That JieShi is like, hey, this all looked good. Just give me 30 seconds to get another round of weapons. Nope, I am in your face right now. Charge is not ready. I got more Stalkers, more sentries, and Cyan here. Just look at this. Ever since defending that Oracle in the early game, and it's, again, the move. He's so good. Gets the force field on the ramp. He just moves south. He says, your Immortal can't take part in this fight, mate. It's just stuck back there on your ramp. And there's so few Stalkers for JieShi, even as it is. This is an awkward situation. It looks like Cyan here. I mean, he's just looking so powerful in this series.
Even if JieShi recalled there, he had the energy for it, it would have been into a meat grinder. There's way too many Stalkers here for Cyan. The Immortal definitely has utility, but there's just not enough support for that Immortal. It just consistently gets force filled out. Now it's finally in. Cyan is going to blink back, happy with the fact that he's killed 17 probes, traded a bunch of army units out, and he is just laughing back to the bank right now. Cyan in a really brilliant spot here in this PvP.
Here we go. That is just Cyan, and honestly, this all gives me so much confidence. I was like, oh, he looked great against time, but guess it's, no, maybe it's just one matchup. No, it's not. Cyan is dominating. He is looking just so sick in this series. Things can go awry so easily, and they did in that previous game, and he still almost won. This one, those DTs found a little bit more damage than we thought, but so decisive. Goes in, punches through, and now finds himself in a nigh unlosable situation. Just rounding up the gateway count, Immortals charge. Another DT runs in, and seems like a good trade if you can kill that and get out, but you cannot. The Stalkers blink on top, trap him in range of the cannon. And JieShi's running around. No comeback units on the field anymore. What do you got? I mean, DTs can't do it. That threat has been shown. There's no disruptors out. Cyan's trying to make more... Cyan, sorry, is making more gateways. JieShi is going to go Robo Bay. So yeah, like he wants the comeback unit. But honestly, as much as disruptors are a comeback unit, people are so good at just sniping them down with Blink Stalkers.
Right.
It almost feels like disruptors actually put you even deeper in the grave in this sort of situation. Like just in recent history with the way just players just jump on them and focus them down, you need to kind of be super sneaky and really get out like 3-4 disruptors and layer them. You need to spread them out. Nobody I've seen do that in the last couple of weeks of PvPs I've cast, where people are just kind of bunching them up with their army, going forward with the shots. That will not work against a player like Cyan. So if JieShi wants to make the comeback, it has to be about kind of setting up traps, you know, cannons, batteries, disruptors layered backwards. And after Cyan blinks forward, that's where a disruptor has to be ready to punish.
This Prism with 4 DTs needs to basically win JieShi the game right now. He needs to do such insane damage to Cyan, maybe force him to come back home or something like that. If Cyan commits with his army, keeps those observers alive, he is very, very hard for JieShi to stop with only 1 disruptor on the way. It is forcing a recall. Cyan is responding to this by bringing back 1 observer and some stalkers, but it feels like his army, especially with the addition of these charge lots, is too hard for JieShi to hold against.
Yeah, I was talking about disruptor comebacks. Well, when your disruptor pops out surrounded by zealots, no, it's not going to do it. This is a terrible situation for JieShi. He doesn't have the numbers. Anytime you're stuck with a handful of stalkers, sentries, and immortals, and the zealots are already on top, you're usually in trouble. You add the fact that Cyan has more stalkers than JieShi, and yeah, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I mean, he's going to hold on for a moment there with some DTs killing an immortal, a few zealots, but all 3 of his mineral lines are being ravaged as we speak.
Yeah, if he somehow, by some miracle, cleans up these stalkers of Cyan, he just will not have anything left over